computer.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll say if you can, I can try. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna share my screen here, y'all. So we can get started. Can you all see the full slide at this point? All right, Deloma's here. I'm going to admit her. Well, thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate you being here and having an opportunity for us to go over the proposals and the resolutions that we had at NCS. And I'm actually going to pull up on my phone what I'm going to read to you just because it makes it a little bit easier than trying to toggle between two screens on the computer. And before we do, let's move to the next one. Obviously, like I said, welcome and thanks for being here. This is what we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss the proposals, and then we're also going to discuss just a few updates for FY24. Just we thought we're starting early on the year. We thought this was a really good time for us to just put out a few reminders so that you can begin working on things now versus finding out we need them in April or May, or remembering that maybe we didn't jump on those right away. So I am gonna see here who's the first volunteer I see. Holly Gardner, you're my first volunteer I see. Would you mind doing the promise and law? I mean the promise, not the law. The Girl Scout promise force. I say them all. It's like they're one thing, promise and the law.
I can make an effort at doing the law from memory. I'm pretty good at it. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law.
Thank you very much. All right. So this is just a reminder. Obviously, it's what happened. Girl Scouts gathered July 18th through the 22nd for the 56th National Council session, followed by the Phenom by Girl Scouts. And it was a really great time. I'll just give a few little housekeeping items or update. Obviously, there was quite a bit of political tension in Florida, some of it aimed directly at Disney World. And so there was a little concern when we left. I think most of you who had been on the calls heard that we were certainly staying abreast of that. GSUSA was. They had put some extra security measures in place. I am very happy to report that there were no real issues that came from any of that. And there was much increased significant security as you were going into the National Council session. So much so that it held us up and we ended up having to start a little bit later. But it moved very quickly. Once we got through after the first day, we all understood sort of how to proceed. But they were very thorough checks. They went through bags. And when I say went through bags, at one point, unzipped a wallet to check inside the wallet to make sure you didn't have a weapon in there. So really great security, and everyone felt safe. Again, wonderful event. Lots of work done at the National Council session by the delegates. So we just discussed, we're going to start with proposal 1, and these are in the order 1 through 7 that we're going to discuss them, not the order that we actually went through them when we were doing the National Council session. And that is strictly based on the appropriate amount of time to make sure that we could have enough time to discuss. So this proposal to amend the promise and the law was actually, that was not proposal. Well, it was proposal 1 in there, but it was not proposal 1. It was proposal 2. And when we discussed it there, and this was defeated. So there was, I do want to tell you, there was a lot of discussion around this proposal, a lot of discussion. We actually spent quite a bit of time and discussing it, and there was a lot of input from the girls regarding this. One of the things that I will say, I will announce here that came out of it is there was, to me, a real eye-opening opportunity for us to look at at some challenges that our girls are having. So I consistently heard things from girl delegates like, if we take out the word try in the promise and the law, and I do something and that's not a part of the promise and the law, then I will feel like I'm a failure, and I'm already a failure at everything I do in my life. Really harmful, really tough language to hear from our girls. And I came back immediately and said to the staff, we really need to do some more significant hard work on mental health and mental health awareness in our council. We can't do everything for the entire movement, but we certainly want to start making sure that we have some mental health awareness, and again, some resources for our girls here. So please know that we are working on that as a council, and you will see some information coming out about that with what we hope to have a mental health summit here in our council. And I'm already in discussions with the 3 CEOs, myself and 2 others, that cover the bulk of Virginia, so that we can also potentially consider doing a statewide mental health summit in partnership with some other wonderful organizations who can help us with grants and underwriting the cost of that, and opportunities for all girls to be able to attend. So so while this proposal was defeated, and it was pretty significantly defeated, it was not close. There was a overwhelming majority that did not want to take out the words try. All right, the next one. All right, let's see here. There we go. Proposal number 3. Oh, we put these in the order that we discussed them with you all on our National Council session calls. So proposal 3. Okay. Ignore these numbers because these are not the ones that are showing up here. This is the proposal number 4. And once we got to National Council session, and it is regarding the constitutional amendment for the DEIRJ language. And this one, so I'm going to make sure I'm telling you exactly. This proposal was approved. It was amended and approved. So let me make sure that I am giving you this. So it was approved as amended, and the final wording of the proposal is where it says diversity, Girl Scouts advance diversity, pluralism, and anti-racism. That was a part of the proposal. And then there was an amendment that added and actively identify and oppose racism by removing systemic barriers to participation in our movement and in the communities in which we live. So that was approved as it was after it was amended, which was to add that additional language at the end. All right, let me go to, am I missing? Oh, sorry. All right. And actually, I think the next one is timing for, and I'm going to read this appropriately, timing for delegate allotment. And this proposal was approved. And I'm going to read it to you appropriately. This, and this was the allotment where it allows the councils, we will actually be given the delegate count, our information 2 years instead of just the year of, so that we can elect our delegates earlier. And if you remember, that was based on the current year. or the year of the National Council session. That makes it a little bit harder. One of the reasons it makes it hard is, if you remember, as of this National Council session, they are now going to be taking place in July instead of in October. So that makes it a little more challenging. All right, next one was council representation on the board. This proposal was defeated, and again, it was defeated pretty significantly. And this was the proposal to suggest that there be at least 3 of the board members, or the members at large, be council CEOs. I'm gonna check the chat, you all, sorry. Oh, Barbara was just sharing that she and Gary. Yep. Thank you, Barbara.
Hey, Nikki, can you take a moment and just give us a little background as to why this was significantly defeated?
Sure. So there was quite a bit of discussion and it's interesting that the most of the people who spoke were not national or council CEOs. So I found that quite interesting, but ultimately it landed in the area of the separation of governance and operations, and that as a council CEO, we really oversee operations, not the governance, and that the undertaking of a council CEO is quite large, and the undertaking of a national board member for GSUSA is equally as significant. So finding time and space to add that into already heavy scheduling and overwhelming commitments by council CEOs was not a big choice or in big favor for many of the people there. Lots of comments on both of those, really. There were a few comments regarding conflict of interest, but they really were, pretty much minimized, as you realize that 3 CEOs obviously would not be able to make decisions for the national board in a way that it would be a conflict of interest. Most of the things they would be working on or voting on or being a part of with the governance would not have direct impact on their specific council. So they wouldn't have the opportunity to say, I want my council of Virginia Skyline to receive this. It doesn't really work that way. Did that help, Holly?
Yes, it's just it surprises me that it wasn't narrowly defeated, that it was defeated by a wide margin, because from past conversations at national council sessions, I would have thought this would have been a very popular thing, because as you said, 3 people does not make a majority. But it does make sure the national board is hearing what's going on in the communities, in the councils. So, yes, but anyway, interesting.
I would say yes and no, because the work of what the national board has been doing it's not really an opportunity, didn't provide the opportunity for them to talk significantly about some of the challenges.
This is Barbara, and what I heard,
I would not have shared this prior to, right? But now that we're sort of on the other side of it, it is difficult. I was not in favor of this proposal. Again, I would not have necessarily said that prior to that, because of to me the difference in the dichotomy of it. I find that I have a better voice, and more of what we experience at a council level is heard on the steering committees that we have. that really report and work directly with GSUSA staff who have the opportunity to make and change particular procedures, the way that we work on operational things, because those are the challenges we see on a more regular basis. So I will tell you from my perspective, I think that's where we get our greatest bang for the buck. Barbara mentioned in the chat, there was also a couple of discussion items or that people mentioned regarding the financial commitment for being a national board member, and that commitment was going to be the same for a council CEO as all the other members, and that obviously they were going to either need to pay it themselves or they could choose to have their council pay it if that was so voted on by the board in the appropriate governance structure.
Virginia Skyline is very blessed to have Nikki sit on several GSUSA committees, and so our voice through her is being heard in New York. There was a lot of grassroots concerns that New York really doesn't know what's happening in the councils. A lot of the Girl Scout staff, though, no longer are living in New York and New Jersey, but are in the Midwest and Virginia and in other parts of the country.
Yeah, they're all over the country, honestly. And I will share that I am going to be at I will miss in person the first 2 open council dialogue sessions. I will be there. But my because I will be at we have a board chair and CEO retreat every year. And this year we are, as CEOs, one of the items we're going to be discussing is exactly what Barbara said. There has been significant questions that have been raised by councils and council CEOs and council boards regarding exactly what she just said about the geography and about, you know, having headquarters in New York and where our actual staff members, national staff members reside. So there's going to be a lot of discussion about all of this in the next couple of weeks. All right. Hey, I just keep hitting things. There we, I don't know what I'm at. Okay. Formula for delegates. I'm going to go back here. This proposal was, I want to make sure I'm saying this right, was defeated. So this was to basically change, it's very much what we did in our council last year. It's to change the number of delegates. So to strike the number 3,500 and replace it with 1,000. So in other words, the way it would have been, the new proposal suggested that it would say for every 1,000 girls, they would get an additional delegate so that there could be a greater representation. Part of that is part of the reasoning. That's why I keep hitting the button. Part of the reasoning for that is that, and I think we talked about this in one of our sessions, but over the course of the last 6 or 7 national council sessions, we've gone from having a high of somewhere between 1,500 and 1,800 delegates to having around 800 at NCS this past July. And obviously that's based because the number of delegates is based on membership, and post-COVID, everyone as a movement, our membership has declined. So the number of delegates has declined. But ultimately this was defeated, and it will stay in the area that we're in with the 3,500, and nothing changes on our delegate allotment.
I will say that the Virginia council sat together, which was nice because then they could network, and that was Commonwealth and Colonial Coast and Nation's Capital. Nation's Capital had 34 delegates. And they all wore green hats and looked really cool. Our delegates sat mostly behind them, but I was glad that Nikki and Helen Ruth, and was it Shannon that was
Shannon.
there? That they were our 3 delegates.
Yes, and you know, again, our delegate allotment is based on membership. Nation's Cap is the largest council in the country. They will always have that number, and it is nice that we were all together, so we were able to sit together and talk about items and share items together. And then possibility for virtual NCS. And this proposal was, I'm trying, gosh, y'all, it's been so long. I have to remember. This proposal was divided. And so sections 1 and 3 were approved as presented, and section 4 of the proposal was amended to limit the board's discretion regarding virtual attendance at regular sessions of NCS to emergency situations only.
I'd like to say if you have never been to a national council session, that you really need to put it on your calendar and save your money and get there, because it's truly an experience that is worth having.
The NCS for 2026, the location has not been announced. That is also one of the items that's supposed to be discussed next week at our CEO retreat. So I will certainly share as soon as we are allowed to share. And I would second what Barbara said. I, of course, had never been to a national council session. I came in to this job late April of 2017 and moved and left for my first NCS the beginning of October. So about 3 months after getting there, 4 months after getting there, I went to NCS, and it was fascinating. If you have never seen Robert's Rules of Order in live and in action, there is no better place to see it than a Girl Scout National Council session. And it was really fascinating, as I said, to hear from the girls and to hear their perspective and how they felt about items. And for me, as I mentioned, it gave me an opportunity to come back to council and say, maybe we're missing some things on what our girls are looking for, and trying to really meet them where they are. You know, I like to say that we want to move at the speed of girl, which means we really want to try to offer opportunities, programming, events, whatever that the girls are interested in, that really are what they want to learn and what they want to participate in. And NCS was a great opportunity to hear that on a large national scale. So I agree, if you have not been, please consider going. And that as of next January, for NCS, we will be voting on our new delegates. So if you are interested in being a national council delegate, please send that information. There are forms online. You apply, send the application, and it becomes a part of our board development committee as they're vetting potential board members. They also will go through an interview process and vet national council delegates.
I will say that when the national proposals were presented, that each of the presenters had a girl beside her. We are in Girl Scouts about empowering girls, and some of the girls did a tremendous job of presenting the proposals. They were on stage in front of the whole audience, so they got their experience being in public speaking.
And it can be really challenging when you get into these, y'all, as you start, and if there's an amendment and then an amendment to an amendment and the question is called, or there's points of order, it can get really hectic and really challenging very quickly. And so they were actually presiding officers with board members. So it was wonderful. There will be those opportunities will again be offered in 2026. So be thinking of girls in your troop or service unit who you may want to nominate, who could apply to participate in that as well. Any final questions about anything with NCS before we move on? Great. Well, we did send out an email immediately after NCS, or very shortly after, once we received the final document that shared the results of all of the proposals. That is still listed on our governance site. And you can find that if you want to just go back through and see that. It is a document that was created and circulated from GSUSA and gives all of the final details. Let's jump into a few FY24 updates. We thought we had you. Let's just give a few more updates to chat about this. Our safety activity checkpoints have been updated for FY24. We attempted to upload them and there were some formatting issues. So know that in the next day or so, we're going to fix those formatting issues and they will be up again. But Jody, do you have one pulled up that I can stop my share and let you share it?
Yes.
Okay. So as Jody's pulling this up, I want to let you know a little bit about what she suggested and we talked about, and Jody put a lot of work into this. We have changed these a little bit so that, yes, there's a lot of detail, and yes, I'm going to say this very loud. Hear me, everyone on recording. You need to read it all. But if you don't, right, some of us don't read everything. If we don't read every letter of it, the bulk and the most important information is right here at the top. We put it all there. It tells you who the activity is permitted for, any special notes, what council approval is required, if there's a vendor approval that is required, and any training that you need to make sure you can do this. So we've really tried to make this as user-friendly and as easy to access as we can.
So this just happens to be one of the newer ones. I don't know if you'll remember, go-karting has been actually off limits. So this is one of the great changes. Is we're actually being able to add a few additional activities that we weren't able to do before, and now we can. So we're looking forward to adding those opportunities for the girls.
Yes, we're really excited about that. Barbara, yes, I'll let you jump in at the end.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jody. I appreciate that.
Nikki, there was a direct message actually to me. I think you should know. It says, please state ages girls must be to be a national delegate. Just going back to the delegate.
Absolutely. So to be a national council delegate is the same for being a council delegate. 14 by the meeting date. By the time they take, I shouldn't say the meeting date, by the time they officially take office. So the meeting date would be the annual meeting. When they were elected, they would have to be 14 by that time. And for girl board members, we do have 2 girl board members. That is 16 by the annual meeting date when they would be elected. Great. All right. Thanks, Jody, for letting me know. Also, we have a few, the 21-29 activity and trip permission form has been updated. It has been designed to be a little more user-friendly. Melissa, do you want to add any details about what you all have changed there?
Yeah, so Molly actually took charge of this project and we streamlined the form. We put a lot of the information, rearranged it so it made more sense with the flow of the form. Some of the information was not necessarily eliminated, but there was a link put in its place. So maybe not everything was typed out, but there's Molly just finished the fillable PDF today. So we haven't had time to load it onto the forms page of the website, but we did eliminate some information that may not be necessary, but if it's in there, it's because it's required by our insurance.
Questions?
So thanks, Molly, for helping out with that.
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you, Molly. That's huge. I don't know that you all understand the undertaking. And I do want to mention here for a second, we are sharing, we work as much as we can for trying to streamline any process that we can and make this more user-friendly and more helpful for our leaders where we have the ability to make changes. Some of that we are not allowed to make certain changes. A lot of things come directly from GSUSA. As you know, we have a charter process that allows us to use the branding, to use the name, to use the programming. And so there are rules and guidelines around that we are not allowed to change. Even down to our website. Jennifer and Marin will tell you there are pieces of that we're not allowed to touch, and pieces of that we are allowed to change, but not everything we did. So yes, thanks to Molly for updating the permission form. Thanks to Jody for the changes to the safety activity checkpoint. Additional GS activity insurance updated. Who wants to give a little more detail here?
Is Brenda on? Brenda might be able to talk to it a little bit better.
Yes.
Brenda, where are you? You want to unmute and share the updates?
Sorry, I was just having a sneezing fit.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, okay. Well, so GSUSA has broadened the coverage so that many of you won't even need to have this extra insurance because now they're covering for free the non-members, and it doesn't matter how many overnights. They're not, if you had what, 2 or 3 or more overnight, then you had to have activity insurance. You don't have to have that. So that is covered. The only time that you're really going to be purchasing it, excuse me, is to cover for sickness. And I just have allergies, not sickness. If that, most people aren't even purchasing that anyways, or for international travel. So those are now the options. So you no longer have to fill out the form for, I mean, a majority of what we get for requests for activity insurance are for overnights or to cover non-members. And now you won't have to do that. It's already covered and it doesn't cost you anything more. The prices didn't go up significantly at all. I don't think they went up that much, if at all. So it's a great benefit. I think it's fantastic. It's going to relieve you guys of having to fill out those wonderful forms and waiting for that activity insurance to be processed. So
And
that's
one of the other things that GSUSA did also is to help you make an informed decision. In the front of the form, you'll now see very clearly what your options are. So you do get to choose what level of, additional insurance that you need. So, and it's very clear what you're purchasing. So that was awesome.
I not to interrupt, but I added that in the beginning of the form. I thought that would be very useful for you guys to decide whether you need to purchase it. The other thing that'll be a little different that Jody and I discussed is when you do purchase the activity insurance, you will get, along with a copy of the activity insurance receipt, you will also get the policy and how to make a claim. So that'll help you to be able to, because you're the one, because you purchase it, will be making the claim. So that obviously council needs to be informed, but that is something that was not being done either. So because of the resources they've been able to provide to us, then we're able to provide those to you. So
this is a great example. I want to make sure to say, this is where we need you all to continue sharing your thoughts and feelings on items. This allowed us to make a change. It allowed us to run this up the flagpole, right? To GSUSA, to all those committees that we sit on, to share your information. And it was a change that they were able to make. So I know sometimes it feels like you're spinning your wheels in the mud and nothing's happening. You're not moving or going anywhere. And we completely understand that. Please continue to share those thoughts, those ideas. We will continue to pass them along so that we can try to make change that will help to ease some of the burden of the time and administrative work that you all have to do for Girl Scouting. So thanks everybody on that. And the other item I've just really wanted to talk about, and I thought this was a really great time to mention it because it is the beginning of the fiscal year, is finance reports. Listen, all finance reports are due. Every troop has to do a finance report. Every area, every anything has to do a finance. If you're spending money on Girl Scouts, you got to do a finance report. You have to do a finance report every year by June 30th. It is submitted via the finance tab in VTK. We will also have more trainings as we get closer to that date where we'll go through the steps. But the number of the report is 4318. Here's the part I wanted to mention and why I wanted to mention it. You need a copy of every individual receipt. So if you are spending any money out of a Girl Scout troop account, you need a receipt for it. And it needs to be one receipt, not, again, I don't mean if you have all 12 girls that you get 12 receipts for each girl. No, if you're doing one event, you can pay for them all together. What I mean is don't take all your receipts for the year and send us one picture of all your receipts. We need individual receipts. And what I would suggest to you, and again, part of the reason we're doing this now in October, my suggestion to you would be get all of your receipts for October. At the end of October, early part of November, get your bank statement because you also have to have a copy of your bank statement each month. Pull that bank statement, reconcile it with your receipts, attach them all together, put them in a nice little folder. So you can do the same thing in November and the same thing in December and all the way through, because again, in June, at the end of June, you're going to have to submit that to us. There are, and I will say, you can keep paper copies, that's fine, of your receipts. There are also many, 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 many apps, options of ways that you can scan and save your receipts with the smartphone. And these are just two we listed here, Turbo Scan, and actually it's one, but one's for Apple if you have an iPhone, one is if you have an Android. Turbo Scan is an option. I'm going to tell you what I do. And I don't know if you all can see it. I'm going to try to show it to you. I don't know that I want you to see it because I have so many of them. It's ridiculous. But if you can see on your phone, look, oh, you're getting a glare. Sorry, y'all. All right. So never mind. If you have an iPhone, on your iPhone, there is a little button right there. It's the Notes app. You all have seen it. It looks like a little notebook with yellow at the top. That is an app that you can open. And if you click the little square, like you're going to click another note, in it, down here, there's a camera. It looks like a little camera. You click the camera and it says scan document. You can, and when you click scan document, your camera comes up. You can scan a receipt and it automatically makes it a PDF. And from there, there's a button. You can send it via email. You can save it in your notes. You can send it via text. There are a million ways. That's how I do all my receipts. And it's really, if I'm on my game or if I'm not really busy, what I will do is as I'm doing it, I will scan it instantly and send it directly to Brenda in accounting. So it's already there and she'll have my receipt before she even sees the charge come through on the card. Now that's ideal. I don't always do that, but if you can be on top of your game, it really does make it easy. The other thing that I love about that is how many of us put our receipts in our purse. I put it in this envelope, in this purse or this wallet, and I change purse. I don't know how many times you change them, but I change purses a lot. And I move stuff and I lose something and I can't find it. It is always in here. If I scan it, I always have that copy. And no matter what, it's there. And you can, again, group them together and create October 2023. So all your receipts are there. Sarah just shared Office Lens app 2, scans directly to your Microsoft Cloud. Oh, Shannon, I'm so glad that's new. Yeah. And it's a part of all your phones. If you have the Notes app, you don't even have to download an app, right? It's on your phone. You can just save it and work. But we really just wanted to remind you all that you need to keep a copy of every single receipt. And the more we can talk about that from the beginning of the year to the end, it makes it easier on you, right? We don't want to have you again in April saying, oh, I wish I would have known that. We want to make sure that you are aware of that early.
And what comes up so much, Nikki, is that, you know, if we can't read it, we can't reconcile it. You know, we've got to
True.
be able to see them. And it really helps us, you know, move through those a little bit quicker if we actually can read what we're supposed to reconcile.
Yeah, that's why it needs to be an individual receipt. And y'all, let me say something, because I don't think we always share the exact part of this for you to understand. We are a nonprofit. We have designations, we have rules, we have laws about the way that we are able to handle money moving in and out without paying fees and all this other stuff on that. So it is imperative that this is handled appropriately, and that if you are spending Girl Scout money, you are reconciling that through our Girl Scout program. We could be in jeopardy of losing our tax exempt status. And again, it's our tax ID. When you all set up a troop account, it is still under the Girl Scout GSVSC tax ID. So it is really important that we manage this process, that we do it appropriately. And as Jody said, that we're able to reconcile it quickly and in an effective and efficient manner. So if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask us. We're going to have more trainings on this, as I said, as we get closer to that in the spring. I will tell you, Donna Gwill is a longtime volunteer who is an expert on this and will actually be a part of helping us with those trainings, and did some of the trainings at our volunteer conference this year for volunteers to understand more about the finance reports.
Donna actually helped redo the Excel report, so it was easier, just 2 little tabs and it populates the rest of it for you. So really kudos to Donna to really try to make it actually just easier. So
yeah. So questions about that? Okay, so really quickly, I do want to mention, let me make sure, did anybody raise their hand that I didn't see? Okay, no. Let me also mention that we are planning, oh, Amy, you have your hand up. Okay, see, this is why I scroll through. Go ahead, Amy.
Okay, I'm going to be the thorn in your side. I do not have a smartphone. I will not get a smartphone. So
you don't have to have a smartphone. You can scan you can still scan it.
I don't have a scanner.
Okay.
Don't have a scanner. So I have to make hard copies and I have to mail them in.
That's fine. What I would say, Amy, is still put them in a folder.
Right.
I mean, that's what I said. You can keep the actual individual receipt.
Yeah.
Ask your bank for a copy of your monthly bank statement. You can do that, and you can send that in at the end. That's no problem. We're just saying there are other ways if you want to make it easier.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's not required. These are just, again, ways to make it more efficient. As we said, we understand the administrative strain that some of this can be for Girl Scouting. So we want to offer opportunities to make it easier and more efficient. That's all this is.
On the go, exactly. We know everybody's on the go, and just like the staff are on the go, we do the same thing. We take pictures of our receipts, just like Nikki shared.
Yeah, it is. It's much easier. So, all right. Other thing I want to mention is that we are going to start doing a little monthly refresher, is what we're going to call it. An opportunity for us to talk about some item as a troop leader, service unit leader, volunteer, that we can help you with. So very much like the finance report, a suggestion about if you want to use these scanners, how it might make it easier to manage all your receipts in a nice place. We're going to do those quick little 15-minute update. It'll be once a month. We'll set the date and time. It will all be the same. We will do them live on social media. And then we will also, of course, they will stay on social media, but then we will also link them to our YouTube page. So you all can go back and check those as well. So no, that's coming up. If you have suggestions for items that you would like for us to discuss or to give a little refresh on, please share those. Send those in through info@. You can email me. You can email Jody, Melissa, Sandy. You all talk to us all the time. Share it. Say, hey, maybe people don't quite remember this. Let's go over it again. All right. So the next final piece is, oh gosh, keep hitting too many buttons. is our fall product update. So I'm gonna let Sandy give you all of this detail that is here. I am just gonna, before she talks about that, I'm just gonna share with you all, and I think I did before, the update on our product program. And we talked about this before, but this is our product program. Fall product and cookie really, of course, is the bulk of it, but fall product really sets the stage for cookies. And this makes up 78% of our council budget. So what that means is if either of these fall short significantly, we have to make very significant changes in the council. Now, what does that look like? It may mean that we pull our reserves to cover costs for things, but what that means is if you use your reserves, guess what you don't have left? Your reserves. They don't automatically replenish themselves. So we really want to try to balance our budget every year that we can. And Sandy's going to talk more about that. I mentioned that I know this has been a really tough time with COVID, and we made a lot of challenges. I mean, we made a lot of changes, and we had a lot of challenges during COVID. And I want to say kudos and a big thank you to all of the troops and girls who did so and who continued working during our COVID and our shutdown, participated in product programs, but also in, as we said, porch drop-offs for program, for events, meetings, virtually, jumping on our activities. The more we have an opportunity for us to engage our girls and our leaders, the better it is for this council. And so Sandy, I'm going to turn this over to you to let you chat a little bit more, and then I can jump in at the end.
Great. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight, and thank you all for the support that you give the troops, the service units, the girls, the other volunteers. We know that most of you wear multiple hats, and so we really appreciate all that support. Just a quick update on a few things, because today is kind of a critical day in the fall product program process. The order card process is supposed to end tonight at midnight, but I'll mention a couple things we're working on changes for here in just a second. The current sales total as of 6 p.m. is $183,980,000, and that's 65% of last year to date. Unfortunately, some of you know the salsa mix, which has been a very good seller for us in the past. It was 5th last year. Sometimes it's 3rd, sometimes it's 4th, but anyway, it was in our top 5. It was not available this year because of some of the ingredients. And the replacement that we picked, unfortunately, is not doing as well. So we know that is definitely not helping the matter here. The item that was chosen as a replacement is at 12th place right now. Peanut butter trail mix, kind of surprisingly, has moved up to 5th. So some people may be trying that instead, since it's kind of like a trail mix, similar to the ingredients except for the flavor. The per girl average right now is 26.4 items compared to 30 items last year. The number of girls in FY24, that's membership numbers, not necessarily loaded into the M2 fall product system, is 16% less than last year to date. And the number of girls participating in the program as of today is 31% less than last year. So, we would understand pretty much if it was around 16% to 20% down, but we're challenged with how to figure out how to engage additional girls that actually participated last year. So some of the steps we're taking is we requested M2 to extend the order card entry cutoff till tomorrow night. One day may not seem like a lot, but it gives us a lot more time to reach out to troops that said they were going to participate that have not sent in an order, and make sure that all of our girls understand that the they can participate as an individual girl in the M2 online system on the online platform only. Troops will still get their profit. Girls can still get the rewards, and it doesn't have to be any impact, negative impact on the troop or the leaders having to manage the products, because it's online direct ship only after the order card is cut off. So we want to make sure we reach out and make sure they're all aware that they can do that, because they have the opportunity to earn badges, as well as have fun and learn how to market electronically, which, you know, a lot of girls know how to do that and a lot of girls don't. But M2 does a good job of making it a fun experience for the girls, as well as an educational process. So we will be working on that as well. And we have 6 more weeks in the program that they can participate online. And we had 6 weeks on the order card. So we're just halfway through. So you were optimistic about what's to come. We're also going to announce some more online prize promotions, which we usually do. We are going to step them up a notch a little bit with some surprises and more winners, more potential winners in these next few promotions. So what we would like to ask of you is that whatever role you're in, whether it's a service unit team leader or a troop leader or a volunteer in any way, or you work with troops some just as an extra resource, however you impact the girls and troops in their experiences, if you can make sure that they understand not only the importance to the council, but and its health, but the importance for them also to participate. If they participate in the fall and cookie programs, they can also earn highest awards, you know, as well as participate in additional money earning activities. So there's a lot of pluses, no matter how little or how much that they actually sell. It's the experience that we also want them to have. So thank you all for everything, and anything you can do for outreach to make sure that people are aware they can still participate. And there's a lot of pluses to participation in the sale. We'd appreciate it. Any questions?
I want to give a shout out because the lime flavored peanuts are excellent, and they are a whole lot better than the Virginia Diner lime flavored peanuts. So,
You mean the dill
if you're,
pickle? Do you mean the dill
What?
pickle ones?
yeah, the pickle ones,
Oh,
they
they're so good.
are lots better than the Virginia Diner peanuts. So please, I mean, if you're going to give Christmas presents to anybody, these are top winners.
Thank
Great.
you, Barbara. They are good. They really are good.
Great, thank you. And if y'all haven't seen the tins, you know, we always have a holiday tin, and it's filled with the pecan caramel nut clusters. And that right now is running a second, and it is really a nice gift as well. So get a pack of dill pickle peanuts, right, Barbara, and
Yeah.
the holiday tin.
I love the holiday tin. I give it to all my kids' teachers get that. Okay. Yeah. So you know, Diane made a really great point. Diane said we ran into a problem here in Gay Likes Carol due to all the schools selling items. It is true. Yeah, those pecan clusters are, oh my gosh, Shannon, you're crazy. I know. You are not wrong. I buy the 10 for me and other people. But no, Diane, you're so correct. So this is a little bit of an issue, y'all, is fall, you know, back to school. The kids always sell things at school. And listen, my kids do. I have school, and then both my kids play football. We have football. You know, they're trying to sell a million different things. So we completely understand that. So thank you for sharing that, Diane. What we would say is, and we tried to do this internally, Sandy, is, you know, as a troop, particularly for fall product, this one works really easily, where if girls want to sell and troops are not, or other girls in the troops don't want to, we can still accommodate that. So just reach out to us. We're willing to work with you, however that may work. Thanks, Diane. That's a good point. And yes, Shannon, I'm terrible. I'm like, one for the teacher, one for me, one for this teacher, one for me on the pecan. That's what's in the tin, the pecan clusters. And they're amazing. They're like turtles. Do you all remember the turtles? The turtle snacks? Oh, that's exactly what they're like, but they're better. They have great sea salt on top. All right, any other questions, thoughts, comments? I am going to say this. Please mention to your girls and your service unit leaders. As Sandy said, we're going to have a big, a couple announcements coming. There's a really big one I'm excited about. But it is going to be our crossover. And what that means is that a girl will have had to at least sold one item in fall product, even if they're our top seller in cookie. They have to have at least sold something in fall product for it to be crossover. So they have to be a part of that. So anybody who's a really high seller and or a high achiever in cookies, you want to make sure you're sharing that with them about fall product, because we have a great big announcement coming for our crossover reward coming in the next week or so, Sandy.
Yes, definitely by sometime next week.
Great. Right. So moving on. I did want to give a little bit of a shout out to make sure everyone knows we have open council dialogue meetings coming up. If you are a delegate or interested in serving as a delegate for your service unit or specific affinity group area, please, you need to attend one of these to be trained. October 21st is in person in Charlottesville. October 28th is virtual. November 4th is in person in Lynchburg, and November 9th is virtual. You can find all the registrations online. And I am going to give Holly Drury, who is our chair of the Membership Voice Committee, the floor if she would like to add any additional information. Not required, Holly, but want to give you a chance.
Please just please register and attend. And if you have people in your area that are hesitant to become delegates because if they have questions or they just aren't sure what the commitment will be like, please ask them to reach out to me. I am willing to help in any way that I can to help people figure out how they can do this. It really isn't a large commitment of time. The biggest commitment of time is if you're a new delegate is doing the self-study. I'm even willing, Nikki, to have a event where a virtual event where we help people do their self-studies. If we need to, we can get that scheduled and get that done. But these meetings are something that you do need to attend to be a delegate. So even if you haven't been elected a delegate yet, but you think you might want to be one, as long as you attend one of these meetings, you'll have part of your requirements done to be a delegate at the annual meeting. Like I said, please reach out to me if there's any way I can help.
And this is Barbara. I'm a member of the Membership Voice Committee too. And these open council dialogue sessions are a fantastic way to network with Girl Scouts and other parts of the councils. You'll glean so many new different ideas and about troop programming and about just how to interact with the community. It's a wonderful time. And this year we have an adult journey, which is it's your voice. Use it, speak up, speak out. And Donna Gwill and Rebecca Duncan have put together opportunities for you to have input. And some of this is because of a proposal that was suggested at the National Council session, which I'll be able to talk about later.
All right. So please register for an open council dialogue session if you are interested in being a delegate, and reach out to Holly or me or anyone that you know. We will certainly get that information to Holly, and I will second. I have worked with Holly. I think Holly's been the chair of the Membership Voice since I got here. And I have worked with Holly every year, and I'm going to tell you, she is incredibly committed. She travels to the far ends of the council for the meetings, and will schedule any extra meeting, any extra training that's necessary. So if you're interested, we'll make it happen.
I think maybe Trisha was in charge before me, but
But I think that was prior to me getting here, right?
I don't know. It was somewhere in there. Maybe it was about that time. I don't know.
I'm going to the Charlottesville Open Council Dialogue meeting this Saturday. If anybody would like to travel with me, to ride with me, I'd love to have you go with me. And I live in Roanoke.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so there's one additional item that we certainly wanted to mention that Barbara talked about. There was a discussion item at the National Council session, which was in regards to the democratic process. We were broken up into small groups. We were able to discuss how we wanted to receive information, how we wanted to share information back regarding being delegates, what the thoughts were of our membership, how we wanted to share information. Barbara, I'm going to give you about a minute to add any additional information you wanted to share.
That sounds fantastic. This was presented as a proposal, and it was considered so important it became a discussion item. The topic was ensuring the importance and effectiveness of the democratic process in the movement, and that includes us, because the ultimate responsibility for the Girl Scout movement rests with its members, and each of you are members. So they divided us into 3 groups. Evidently, the CEOs had their own session. The delegates had one, and then the volunteers, everyone else that was attending, also participated. And we had questions that we answered. The answers were gathered up, and there's supposed to be a process where the National Board of Directors will appoint a task group to engage in a comprehensive 2-year study of the decision-making and the decision-influencing process in the movement, with a focus on the role of both national and local council delegate bodies.
All right. All right, so now want to give just a minute, questions, sharing. I'm going to stop sharing so that we can certainly chat. Any questions, any good news, any information you all want to share within your service unit or area?
I will share one. This is Janet from Charlottesville. Can y'all hear me
Hi,
okay?
Janet.
Hi. So since our last town hall meeting, we had a paddling badge day for seniors down at Holiday Lake Park, State Park. We weren't able to go during the time of the Girl Scouts Love State Parks. We couldn't go that weekend because of the timing with the cool air and everything. But they let us celebrate a little early and have this paddling badge event. And it was amazing. If you've not been to this park, especially if you live around the Appomattox area, highly recommend it. The staff there is amazing, and we're going to do lots more events with them because they were just so fantastic. They were able to get us the rentals, basically for the paddling badge, if you're not familiar with it. It requires you to try 3 paddling options. And so that generally would be canoe, kayak, and stand-up paddleboard. And the challenge for me has always been trying to find a place to do that economically that's not too expensive for most girls, because doing it here local in Charlottesville and looking at some of these folks, it was like $150 a girl to do it. So the state park did it for us. They have all 3 options there, and they gave us this amazing price. It literally worked out to $4 a girl.
Wow.
I was done. And
Wow.
so we had a very we were planning kind of last minute, so we hope to do this event every year, but we had 11 girls come, even with the last minute information, and this was at the last weekend in August, and we had a phenomenal time. I sent Jennifer Pfister some photos because there were girls doing Now, I know we just did safety activity checkpoints. Don't get mad at me, but I had girls doing yoga on their paddleboards, and I have a picture of one girl doing a headstand on her paddleboard. It was amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you, Janet. Great
We had a
work.
great time. Thanks.
That's allowed, Janet, just so you know. You can do yoga on stand up on SUP, so that's great.
Share that photo with us so we can share it. Other items.
I have my hand raised.
Oh, okay, Barbara. I thought that was from before.
No.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Okay, I just want to give a shout out to Virginia Skyline. And some of this happened before Nikki was here, and I want her to know how proud we are that she represents us from Virginia Skyline. That the Adventures Virginia Skyline have attended national council sessions as exhibitors, and we were there in 2011 to celebrate the Great Girl Scout hike that we coordinated in 2012 for the 100th anniversary of Girl Scouts. We had over 10,000 girls participate in 5 different countries. And then that started the Support an Outdoor Journey. And then 2014, we went to Salt Lake. We did Journey Outdoors, and we had pins that said Support an Outdoor Journey. And that's when we had the outdoor discussion item in 2014 in Salt Lake. And then in 2017, we were in Cincinnati too. So this year, Gary and I weren't Girl Scout exhibitors, but we were in the exhibit hall and still were able to make a difference with Virginia Skyline, really taking the lead. So I think that we've impacted GSUSA, and then by you serving on several of the committees. Just wanted you to know the background of Girl Scouts Virginia Skyline having initiated an event called the Great Girl Scout Hike in 2012. And that the only thing that I think is good about the National Council session, national office being in New York, is that we have Girl Scouts that testify before the United Nations committees, and a lot of times that they get together there. That's it.
All right. Any other sharing? Y'all, I'm sorry. I turned off my camera. I lost you all and went away and came back. So I'm sorry. Thought it was better to turn my camera off so I could still hear you. Any other sharing?
Again,
All
if
right,
anybody
Jody.
needs a ride, let me know. We'll head up to Charlottesville.
Thanks, Barbara. Jody, share that date again. Service unit, the next service unit roundtable is next Thursday, right? You're muted, Jody. October 26th.
At 7 o'clock. Sorry.
Next Thursday, October 26th at 7 o'clock. And then we will have another town hall in September. Right?
September?
Yeah. Yes, because this town hall we moved this date. This was supposed to be in September, but we had to move it. So we changed it. So we alternate every month. So October 26th is service unit roundtable. September will be
November.
I'm sorry, November. I'm going backwards, not forwards. November will be, I know, Diane, I'm sorry. I'm going the other direction. I'm going to get younger, not older. That's the way it works. November will be our town hall, and then December will be service unit roundtable again.
So November 16th is the next town hall.
Holly, you're awesome. And Holly said, I just placed an additional nut and candy order. And let me tell you all, y'all, I walked into Sandy on, I guess it was Thursday or Friday, and I said, I've done my part. I'm hoping my internet's better. So I'm going to put okay. I said, I've done my part. So every year I have a few more girls who ask me to purchase something. So I'm up to 12 or 13 this year. And I always buy something from every person who asks. So, so yes, I agree, Holly. I did extra too.
Thank you for doing that, everybody.
Thanks, Holly.
And
We
don't
appreciate-
forget, if you know, even on online, if you don't want to buy anything, you know, for home or a gift, I mean, you can still do a donation for $7. So if you keep getting those emails like we do from all of our young ladies that are still working on their goal, if you can help them out with just even a donation, that's great.
Yes. And Sandy, this will go through 11/27. Isn't that what you said?
Correct. Yep. You got
Yes,
plenty of
you can
time.
order online, share with others to order online. Still time. Any final questions, thoughts, as I like to say on my meetings, anything for the good of the order?
Hey, Amy Swisher's birthday's tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Amy. Are you 29?
Yeah, like my mother always said, 29 and holding.
So I always tell this joke. My staff laughs at me. I used to say that always. I would say, "Oh, I'm 29. They're 29." And I did this one time when I was at Holland's right before I came here. And I said, "Oh, she's 29." And the poor little girl looked terrified. And she said, "I'm 25." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm done. I'll never say 29 again." So
Say hi. Tell Nikki.
Hi.
Girl Scout coming up. Say, I just turned 4.
yay,
I
see you
hope.
soon.
Hi.
Can I say hi?
Oh, well, thank you all so much for being on. Have such a great night. We thank you for all that you do. If you have, please, if you have questions, comments, thoughts, suggestions, please don't hesitate to share them with us. We want to hear from you. We are really here as an extension of our volunteers. We want to make your life and your jobs easier. So please share that information with us any way, any place, anytime that you can.
Come to the open council dialogue meetings.
Bye, all. Have a great night. Thank you.